joining us today. Today is going to be our first broadcast, so it's not just who's in this room, but it's also who's going to be tuning in online, and it's also being recorded, so we'll have this segment for people to review when we're done. So I'm Alfonso. I am the president of the marketing club. Today we have a really special guest speaker. I just wanted to make a couple of announcements before we bring them on. We have some openings for officers in the marketing club. So if you're interested in being a treasurer, a webmaster, or even helping the officers that are already in these positions, there are openings for those as well. You can contact us in the marketing office at the Student Union. We're in the second floor in office 201A. So office hours are posted on there, and you can also message us at marketingclubops.csula@gmail.com. So any inquiries with that, if you want to recommend anybody, if you want to nominate someone in your class, let us know. Also, next week we're going to have a speaker. His name is Thomas Lawson, and he is a business owner. He launched a couple of ventures, and he's very enthusiastic about reaching out to the marketing club and giving some advice, and also I believe some opportunities that he may be coming with. Speaking of opportunities, we have the career fair also that day, I believe the 19th. So we'll have more information in the newsletter. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter as well. AIDS Walk is going to be Sunday, October 23rd, and we're going to have information on that as well in our newsletter. Also, we did sign up for a Zipcar account, so now that the events that we have off campus, if you want to carpool, we'll be providing that service. So just make sure to reach out to us, and we'll let you know more about that. Without further ado, I'm going to open up the podium to our guest speaker, Mr. Barney Santos. Please.
Hi, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. And hello, everybody online. So I just wanted to, first of all, just kind of say I really love the marketing club, always have. When I came here as an undergraduate, I always thought that marketing was an integral component of any business, right? It's really kind of like the heart and blood of how businesses grow. And so without customers, businesses die, right? And that's actually the main reason why a lot of businesses fail, is because they just don't have enough customers. And so marketing has evolved in so many different ways since I've kind of first started. Now marketing is a lot of times working hand in hand with engineers, right? To create sort of like growth hacking sort of tactics in tech companies. And so I think it's a really interesting time for marketers to sort of lean on these new methodologies, new really innovative ways of doing things. And I think the future is only going to get more exciting. And so with that said, I want to just kind of like quickly give you a brief little context of kind of what we do here at the Center for Entrepreneurship. When I say it's a little small center, we're just starting out. We're sort of like a startup within an organization. Alicia and I actually work up there. I run the center. Ultimately, the whole purpose of the center is to create a platform for ideas to flourish. Right? We believe in the power of crazy ideas, and so we want to provide a platform and a place where students can feel supported with those crazy ideas, and where their ideas can thrive, and as well as students themselves can actually thrive as well. And so, whatever we can do to help support that, that's kind of what we try. We connect students with mentors, industry mentors. We help connect students with internship opportunities in the actual startup field or in small companies. We also help connect students with other students who are looking to sort of launch something. Maybe if you want to looking for an engineer, we can probably get partnered with another engineer student. Somebody wants to build something or design something, or we just try to make those connections happen. So sometimes the school is so disconnected that bringing people together is a really great value. Additionally, we provide a lot of training, and so we have a couple events that we go all year round. So this first event that we have coming up is actually the hackathon coming up this month, and it's just next weekend. If you want to pass those out. are you guys familiar with what a hackathon is? No? So hackathons are really interesting. It's sort of this really cool event that it's usually either overnight or over the weekend, but typically what it does is it provides a platform for students to kind of like hustle and build something really awesome and cool over the course of 30 hours. And so this event will be the first event in Cal State LA's history that has allowed students to actually sleep over and do this type of work. And so students will be able to be in the Gold Eagle Ballroom, build something with code, or build something with hardware, or build something with code for a hardware platform, right? So like Oculus Rift, like we'll have a VR headset there. We'll have some hardware that measures brain waves for apps, and so you can build platforms for stuff like that. So it's a really cool thing, all related to biotechnology. So there'll be a combination of students that have hardcore hardware skills, hardcore software coding skills, and then some students just have neither, right? But they have great imagination and are really just enthusiastic to learn. And so I encourage everyone, including everyone online, to kind of like check it out. It's biohackla.com, right? It's really simple to memorize, biohackla.com. And so that website ultimately will give you the rundown of all the questions you need, has a video, and you can RSVP. The great news is it's absolutely free, right? Free food, free coffee, free shirts, free swag, right? If you win, you get prizes. So ultimately, if you don't want to code, you don't want to hack, you just want to eat for the weekend for free, like that's a cool place to do it too. So feel free to come by. We have pizza, like sandwiches, all kinds of cool stuff. It's gonna be a fun environment, right? I think at midnight we're gonna play a game called Werewolf, and I still don't know what it is. You apparently think it's awesome. I don't know.
I played. It's good.
It's cool.
It's cool. It's cool.
So they're gonna play Werewolf at midnight. So it'll be a fun thing. It's a collaboration between the LA Biospace Incubator, which is here on campus. It's a brand new incubator. And additionally, it's a partnership between the center and the College of Engineering. And so we've also partnered with some industry partners like Make in LA. It's a hardware accelerator. Rhubarb Studios, which is a co-working space in downtown. And Major League Hacking, and a bunch of other people. So it's a really fun event. The other event that we got coming up at the end of the month is a speaker series, part of our ongoing speaker series. As you guys know, bringing speakers to talk is it's good value, right? Because it sort of expands you to kind of what you don't know. So we're gonna bring somebody really awesome. Her name is Patty Rodriguez. So I don't know if you know who Patty Rodriguez is or not. You will for sure, definitely down the road. She's an emerging entrepreneur. Hey man. And she actually works for Ryan Seacrest. You know Ryan Seacrest, obviously. Have you guys heard of like the Ryan's Roses, that segment in the morning? No? Some of you have? So she's the one that's a voice on Ryan's Roses, but ultimately she has built this company called Little Libros that's actually a bilingual book. And so it's a book, it's illustration children's book that teaches kids bilingual English and Spanish, and she's in Target, Walmart, a bunch of places. She's just crushing it with this book. She also created this jewelry line called Mala, and she also did this huge petition to try to get MAC Cosmetics, MAC, the makeup, to start a line with branding with Selena, the musician. And so she was the one who actually kickstarted that whole thing, and so she actually got it, and MAC actually released the Selena line October 1st up in Corpus Christi. So she's gonna be coming at the end of this month, free pizza. I like to feed people, so you guys can definitely come. But the first 40 students actually show up and get a free book as well. And I'm gonna try to convince her. I think she'll be okay with having people sign the book. So it'll be an amazing event. But we'll do more stuff like that going in the future, right? The last time, a couple months ago, we had a friend of mine who actually started a tech company. He raised $1 million while he was a grad student. He's also the president of the grad MBA program, right? So he's like a crazy person. Right on top of it, so he raised the money to build his startup, build his team. And so he came and talked about the realities of what it's like to start a business. And even though he just raised $1 million, he's still broke because he's paying all his employees, right? Building the talent. And so that's the kind of stuff that we really love to do. We want to make sure we bring that value to students. The other thing that we wanted to talk about too was, I was asked to talk about Echo, right? And Echo is this really great club. I was actually a founder of Echo when I first started here as an undergraduate. So the basis for Echo was ultimately, when we first came up with it, was just like, how can we support entrepreneurial ecosystem and environment here? Just from the student perspective, just like you guys, right? How do you support more marketing opportunities for you? And so, you know, having had started 2 businesses before, once when I was 19 years old and the other one I was 24, I kind of had some traction. I had known what it's like, and so like I know how hard it is to start a business. And so I said, let's put together a team and like see if we can ignite that more in students. And since then, it's gone on, it's flourished. A lot of students have started businesses since then. The original alumni class, one of them started an ambulance company. One of the students actually is kicking off her brand new app. And so like more and more people are just launching businesses, right? And I'm launching my business here in Montebello, not in the Montebello room where we're at, but actually in the city of Montebello. And so, you know, it's a really good core group, and just, as you know, being in a group with other like-minded people really kind of helps you cement those things in your mind too. The great news is that Echo is running this really great program called Fast Track, I believe it's called. So what they're doing is it's a great concept. They're working with the existing organizations to help coach and consult and teach you methodologies for how to start businesses or how to use marketing in like product development or even project development, right? If you're working on like a marketing project or a marketing plan, like how do you iterate, how do you brainstorm and do rapid prototyping and build some cool stuff right away? And ultimately, that kind of methodology is really great for creative people. And so marketing people tend to be a little more creative than most. And so it's a really great program. I highly suggest you work with them. I think it sounds like you guys already formed a partnership with them. So it's gonna be really interesting going down the line. The other component I think you wanted to talk about was entrepreneurship and relates to marketing as well, right? Is that kind of, yeah?
Yes.
So,
An innovative mind, right?
yeah. So it's an interesting concept. So let's do you have any questions so far about kind of like the stuff that I've brought up so far? Like any events or anything that's to do with Echo and the partnership?
Which one's your favorite?
In regards to the events?
Yeah, like which one do you have?
You know, it's funny, man. I have a different perspective because like we put on the events, so like it takes a lot of energy and effort. So each one is like the one that I focus on the most, and it's like once it's done, it's like, oh, that was so great.
Right.
And then the next one comes, and then it's like it's back at it. But if I were to say the one that brings me the biggest joy is probably the business pitch competition that we do every year, only because, you know, at the biohack, at the startup weekend, the outcome is not a formalized company, but like a formalized idea, and people get excited about stuff. But the business pitch competition, you get to actually pitch an idea with a team, and then if you get selected as one of the finalists, like the final 10, you go through a training, like a 10-week training. And through that training, you actually solidify your idea even more. So at the end of it, what you're pitching, you're actually pitching a real concept that you've validated, you've tested, like you've answered all the questions about it. And so when you pitch it, like people tend to like really do well. And in fact, the last group of people that we put through the business pitch competition, you know, the first place winner won, what was it, $3,000? But outside of that, a couple months later, he raised over $100,000 right away. Second place winner raised 120 a couple months after. It was accepted into a Hawaiian accelerator, raised another $100,000. She already has her products in market. And I think third place, who was third place, you remember? Third place was the book company. They got accepted into actually a couple accelerators and incubators too, right? So like to see students actually take those ideas and bring them to market is really awesome. I think additionally from that, what I like to see going forward is like more of a collaborative energy here. Like I think the good thing that we have at Cal State Los Angeles is we have the amazing students. So I went to Cal State LA from undergraduate, and I went to USC for my graduate. And so there's a very stark difference in like the education level in the sense of like the pedigree of like professors. We have really passionate professors here. And the students here are so amazing. They have such energy. You guys are like really hustlers, right? You guys really do a lot of work. And so I think if we were to sort of elevate that and create an ecosystem of collaboration where other colleges are working with each other, where students are working interdisciplinary, they're working with other groups, other organizations, you would have some really cool stuff coming out of that. When you start partnering with different people who think very differently than you, what happens is you get outcomes that are way better than just you coming into it, right? Have you guys done that before? Like work with somebody completely in a different space, like another major or whatever, right? Completely different outcome, right? And so that's always a good thing. What I would love to see going forward is possibly more collaboration in that part, right? I think one of your members, so Crystal. So Crystal's already starting to help us a little bit with our marketing.
Awesome.
Yeah, she's gonna start like, she was on it, like I mentioned it kind of 2 seconds, like in the
Yeah,
last
she was
meeting.
one of the first ones to
Yeah,
just
she
like,
just kind of popped into it, and she was like, I'm here. She showed up the next, like I think that week, and was like, I'm ready to go.
that's the same one that wants to like, can I do this on my own? And just
Oh,
sort of,
she's
her,
good.
she is very, very
Yeah, so the good thing
enthusiastic.
about Crystal is that she's actually very ambitious. And you could tell, like, you know, I always like to sort of, when people say I want to help, I say, okay, try this, and I give them something, and then I want to see if they come back with something else. And then if they do, then we give them more, and then we work more collaboratively. Crystal was just on it from day one, and so I could tell that she's someone that is eager to learn, but eager to contribute. And so, you know, I invite everyone to sort of like try to step into that mindset, and see how you can sort of reach out, like even to me or to other clubs or just your department. Dr. Jackson, I'm sure, has a lot of stuff that he could probably connect you with. Have you guys talked to Dr. Jackson at all by any chance? Your dean, your chair, or no? So I highly suggest just reaching out to him, right? Talking to Dr. Jackson and seeing, hey, look, you guys are interested in doing this or working projects, all kinds of stuff. Because I'm sure you guys are all marketing majors.
Yeah, for the most part.
Who isn't a marketing major? You? What major are you?
Chemical engineering.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm an international business.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that's good. That's good. So the fact that you're here, actually, both of you are great. But engineering, that's an interesting one. So what made you be interested in marketing?
It's needed in everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So, you know, like I was mentioning beforehand, ultimately marketing has evolved so much now. People are I have friends that are growth hackers, right? They work for companies and they're working with engineers to infuse like little things that seem sort of insignificant that are fused into the actual code, but that help create a viral effect and like sort of it's this closed loop where it's like it's like when you sort of like go on Uber and it asks you to share this to get a discount with your friend, right? That's one of those built-in growth hacks. That's the reason why they grew so fast also. Sort of like when, I remember what email it was. I think it was Hotmail. When Hotmail first came out, and there was like the battle of the emails. Hotmail put a little link on the bottom, like if you want this email or something like that, they put a link, and you can sign up for an email on every single email, right? So those little hack that they did to kind of grow exponentially. And so things like that are really interesting. Like how can you infuse this sort of creative thinking and innovative way of thinking to sort of help grow companies and businesses? And I think that's what really would be helpful for you guys to do going forward, and girls, I'm sorry, is sort of like think about, you know, what are the things that you can get involved with from a hands-on perspective. You learn a lot of stuff in class, which is phenomenal, which is great. Believe me, like Cal State has a great theory-based project, a great program. Every university has great theory. Where you really learn is by applying that stuff in projects, getting your hands like in stuff, right? So whether that means volunteering to be like a lead in a project, if you want to do something here for the club, for your marketing club, like saying, hey, look, I want to lead or I want to take on this project and market that project here, you learn way more doing that stuff than just sort of like sitting back and like taking in information. It's always better to be more hands-on. And so I invite all of you to do that because it's going to be huge for your sort of like growth in this space and understanding of marketing. You know, I think do you guys do a lot of hands-on projects here for the marketing club?
We try to.
Yeah.
Try to.
So what kind of stuff have you done in the past?
Well, we brought in more of the networking and coming in and how do you enter a conversation, how do you exit a conversation,
Yeah.
things that you can stay away from or how to emphasize your strengths, things like that where we work together.
Yeah.
We also have Thread came in, which is an app, and we were sitting around tables, downloading the app, figuring out how to work together as far as marketing pitch to get people to sign on to the app. So it's real life scenario where this brand is trying to get out there and gain recognition. Let's all get together all
Yeah.
around the table, get your phone out, here's how it works, and so it's really, you're getting into the mix of what this company is doing.
Yeah, that's good.
So, I mean, these are recent ones that are coming in, so.
Yeah, and that's the stuff you really want to get into, right? Like at the end of the day, so I'll be frank, right? Like I'll just sort of like be honest. Like you guys are all undergraduates here, right? And you're alumni already. So you have a short window, right, to sort of capitalize on this college experience, right? So all of you should be really hustling hard, like to the point where you're like getting very little sleep. There's a small window of you guys actually working to the point where you can accelerate your growth as a career, and this is it. Like this is the moment, right? So like I talk about a lot with people about your work hustle, your ethic, right? And so whatever denomination that is, marketing, international business, or that's engineering or entrepreneurship, it doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, you're all young, you're all sort of ambitious, and you're all here in this really cool environment that sort of says you can go out there and fail, right? And that doesn't always happen, right? Sometimes a lot of stuff gets in the way. You get a job, you get these sort of golden handcuffs, right? That maybe a job will prevent you from actually starting something or working on a project. You get like these family handcuffs, maybe you have a husband, or maybe you have a wife, or maybe you have a kid that prevents you from doing the things you want to do, right? So like this time right now is the time to really like just go crush it, right? So and it's as little as just going out and doing just stupid things, you know, on the weekend. If you want to just go to a promoter for a club and like help him promote his club, just to get a cut up from each person you bring in, right? It's a simple way to do stuff. Going to flea markets and like buying unique things and then flipping them on the market, right? On eBay, that's another way you can make just quick bucks.
Yeah.
You know, buying like really rare comic books online and then turning them around. Buying shoes and just kind of flipping them also, right? Entrepreneurship is about sort of looking at opportunities and recognizing what they could mean in a valuable way, and then just optimizing that and just sort of like really kind of going to the market with it, right? Marketing plays a huge component of it. Identifying who the customer is, right, and why they need to buy from you, why it's a must-have, is super important. It's the reason, like I said earlier, it's the reason why businesses fail, right? So if you don't know how to identify that, then you're gonna bomb all the time. But the more and more you do it, the more it starts becoming clear what are opportunities and what are things that are gonna click with some people, right? And what are like industries and like little gaps that you can see. There was a huge gap recently I started paying attention to. Right? And the more and more you do this stuff, you'll get really used to it. But like I forgot somebody posted something about meal prep, like hashtag meal prep. It was a picture of their meal prep stuff. The first thing I thought of was like, this is such a big thing. I see so many people posting things about meal prepping. Like I wonder how much these little prep containers cost. Right? So I went to Alibaba, I saw how much it costs. If you buy it in a bulk, you end up getting like 10 cents per case, right? So like if you multiply that by 10 cases, which is a pack, that's $1 cost, right? Plus shipping and all that stuff. You're probably talking about like maybe $3-4 hard cost, right? They're retailing at like $16 to $24 if you sell them with a pack with a nice brand on them.
Right.
Right? Something as small, as simple as that. But if you sort of deconstruct it and see the opportunity, right? And then you just build a blog that sort of like gives you recipes and menu items for like actual fitness, and like you can create a real lifestyle around that. What are you doing? You're selling the lifestyle of a person who was a meal prepper, typically someone who's really in shape and healthy and like that whole like CrossFit world, right? And so like something as simple as that could turn into a huge opportunity, right? And so you start breaking down the numbers. You sell X amount, you could potentially be making anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in a very short period of time, right? Doing something on the side.
Right.
On the side. As simple as that. Right? But it takes a certain sort of mind to look at that stuff. So what I invite you to do too is just hustle. Look at stuff. Look at the world. See it a little differently, right? See how you can infuse some of that marketing mindset, that international mindset, right? So that engineering mindset, and looking at opportunities in those spaces to see what could come out of it. In international business, right? Right now, you have this huge movement in Tijuana craft beers, right? I don't know if you've been to Tijuana lately. Yeah, so there are these massive craft breweries that are popping up everywhere. In a small, dense population, there's massive amounts of people homebrewing. There's an opportunity there to help those home brewers take their businesses to scale, right? How do you take a home brewer and then create an international business for them, import-export? Taking those little local craft breweries and actually bringing them to Los Angeles, bringing them to San Diego, so there's opportunity there, right? That's import-export business, right? And and I'm sure a lot of people are probably gonna get into that space, but if you get into it now, there's a time to sort of build that in now, right? But again, I go back to this thing, hustle. It takes time. The more time you put into it, the more you hustle into it, right? You just sort of not sleep, and then you just do it. You hustle. For the last year, I went to grad school. I have two things that I work on, 3 now, right? I have a consulting job that I do, work for a corporation, and I work here. And for a year, I did all that. Plus, I went to grad school at night, right? And so, like, full time. I took 4 classes every night. So, like, I woke up around 6 or 7 o'clock, left the door at 8, came back at 11:30, sometimes midnight, right? And didn't go to sleep until like maybe roughly 2 o'clock every day, 3 o'clock sometimes. So I would only get like a couple hours of sleep every night, right? But that was just the sacrifice. I had to hustle because it's just a short period of time. And you know, marketing is so important to every heart and soul of every business. It's vital. It's basically the customer, and how do you communicate your value to the customer, right? So if you start at the very basic foundation of like, what is, and let me know how my time is going, please, because I'll be here all day if you want. But let me know, I mean, what I'm saying is, if you understand at the very core level, like what a customer needs, like what they want versus what they need or what they must have at the very basis, and then once you get that figured out, then all you have to do with marketing is figure out how to expand that voice, that message, and broadcast it to further reach. Marketing is all about reach. How can I convert more customers, and how can I keep my current customers, right? To constantly grow my base, to make more money. So, have you guys seen any opportunities lately that have to do with anything, like maybe you've identified anything and potentially be something you can make money on the side?
I mean, a while back, I was working at a pizza shop. One of the things I did was I would buy and resell phones. I'd buy them maybe, let's say, after a new phone came out, let's say a while it was the S5.
Right.
So I'd buy all the old S4s.
Perfect.
Even if they're cracked, the battery was messed up, maybe the charging port was messed up.
Yeah.
Buy it, fix it, resell it. I think I made, maybe off of each phone, I made $200.
Perfect.
And I flip them about 15 phones a month.
Yeah.
So that was just on the side. And
Yeah. And how much time did it take you to do that stuff?
The repairs I did it myself. I go on YouTube,
Yeah.
look up how to do some of the repairs, and most of the time I spent was just maybe speaking with potential customers.
Yeah.
And explaining why they buy from me and
Yeah.
building a reputation for myself.
Yeah.
And that's just what I did.
And that's as simple as that, right? Ultimately, right? It wasn't anything that was rocket science. You weren't changing the world or anything. You're just identifying an opportunity there, right? You saw a new phone comes in, which automatically makes people know nuts and say, I want that new phone. I don't want the old phone. But there's a huge market of people like me who still have the old phone, right? But I also have the new one too, right? So, but there's a bunch of people who have the old phone who are just like, I don't know, or who'd be like, yeah, I still have the old phone, but I want the old phone, the newer version of the old phone, right? So that's another market too, right? So you've identified that, and that's all it is. Identify an opportunity and then marketing your way to get more people in front of you, and that's it. You see, you were kind of like...
Oh yeah, I had an opportunity like about a year ago to work in a dealership selling cars.
Yeah.
The owner of the dealer was my best friend, so something that I like about his proposal that he let me invest my own money, and I had the opportunity to go to the car auctions, and I was able to bid for cars. So it was a really good experience, even though that it was time consuming because it's a hustle, as you say. If you want to make money, you have to be there all the time. And I didn't like the part that I had to sacrifice my school, but I learned a lot throughout that time that I worked over there. I was able to create advertisement and post them on Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram, and some other websites, and it was a really good experience.
Yeah. You know, I used to have a friend that his father owned a car wash, and it was in a very, very highly visible area in Maywood. And he said, you know what, like, I'm gonna buy used cars at the auction, right? Or for like as little as $500 to $1,000 each one. Fix them, he's got a mechanic, had them fixed, and then he just parked them. That's it. He wasn't there to like sell people or anything. He put his phone number on there. He put like 4 or 5 cars there. You know, spend maybe a couple, $5,000-$6,000, maybe $10,000. That's it. But he would do that all the time, and it was a constant stream of income eventually because it was such a highly visible location. Money would come in, right? And so like you can do that without even have to work at a dealer shop, right? Like you do that on your own. You can go to these like auctions, and trust me, I've been to these auctions, they sell them for nothing.
For nothing.
Nothing.
That's true.
Yeah, you just have to have cash.
Absolutely.
There's police auctions too. You can buy used MacBooks, sometimes brand new stuff, right? All kinds of rare things that just sort of you can flip right away. So there's a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm glad that you see the opportunities and, you know, try to be more conscious of them because they're everywhere. They really are, right? And so like you can look at them as like little side hustles, right? But then look at the bigger picture too. Like what could be something that could be huge down the road, something that's aligned with who you are as a person, right? So like, people say like, oh, follow your passions. I don't believe in following your passions. I think what you should do is sort of follow your desires. Your desires tell you everything in life. Like if I desire to go do something, then that means that I'm gonna make a conscious effort to be committed to getting to that place. Passions dwindle. So I'm sure everybody here has that experience where they were super passionate about one thing last year, and now that passion is gone, right? But you can't have that in business, right? In business, you're either in it or you're not, right? And sometimes you hit a wall, and you sort of like, it's a pain in the ass, you hit a bad customer, you lose an account, something huge happens, right? And then if you're not passionate about it, you're like, man, I'm out of here, right? But desire always carries you through because the desire is related to the outcome. It's the work, it's that you put in. That's that hustle, that grind, right? That ganas, right? Or grit, or you know what that means, ganas. So that's what I would always suggest is kind of establish who you are now. Take a baseline for like, what are your skill sets? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses, right? Who do you know? What do you know? Right? What's your network look like? Right? Look at that as a starter, as a basis, right? From that basis, start looking outward at that point. What are the opportunities you need? What are the businesses and industries you're interested in, right? And then go from there. There's a really valuable tool called Strength Finder. Has anybody heard that book before? You have? When I say you, I don't mean you in the camera, I mean the camera. So Strength Finder is a book. I highly recommend it. It's emotional intelligence is one of the most important things. Awareness of your own like who you are is I can't even stress that enough. We focus so much on our weaknesses. School does that, right? Have you heard that before? Like develop your weaknesses, don't focus on your strengths. Like I think that's complete BS. You double down on the things you're good at, and you'll get to great faster, right? If you focus on your weaknesses, how long will it take you just to become good? It takes a longer time. But if you're working on your strengths, you'll get to great. I'm trying to get great. I don't want to just be good. So focus on your strengths. The book Strength Finder helps you identify what you're naturally like good at, what your natural strength is, baseline. You should be focusing on, right? If you understand what those strengths are, it's really good baseline for knowing where to go next and what you should be doing or looking at least. And it's not like, oh, your personality in a sense, right? It's more like, are you a learner, right? Are you like somebody who thinks in the future? Are you somebody who's more pragmatic? Are you a connector, right? Those type of things. So it's a really interesting thing you should look into. Marketing, you know, I can talk about marketing, but at the end of the day, you know, marketing is just getting people to sort of like, at the very essence, you have to have something that people really, really want. You have to be solving a problem that's out there, right? Okay, so pay attention to what people are saying, right? I noticed on Instagram the whole like meal prep thing, right? So like I don't know necessarily if that's I don't know if there's a huge problem with that, but I also know that there's a lot of people with what they like to do is like they like to associate themselves with brands. So the opportunity I saw with that was not so much even getting a better meal prep like system. It was just creating a brand around it, right? So you can associate yourself with that, right? So there's all these kind of opportunities that exist. Echo is actually doing a great job of teaching how to identify those things. So that fast track program, they teach you about like customer empathy, right? Looking at things from the customer's perspective, right? So you can actually design products, services, campaigns, whatever, to fit their sort of needs from a humanistic approach. And that's how you want to do things. Because if you have that as a baseline, that's like, okay, people want this because it fixes one of their problems, whether that's a social problem, whether that's an actual problem. Then at that point, then you use marketing only just to accelerate that reach, that growth, right? To get you more customers. Does anybody have questions from here? Yeah.
I have a good question. You mentioned that you started your business when you were 19. What
Yeah.
type of business did you?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a little context. I think I skipped over that. So at 19 years old, I started my first mortgage company. My first company was a mortgage company. So, you know, it was either that or the YMCA. True story. Working at the YMCA. So the opportunity was there. One of my friends said, "Hey, look, dude, I got this check. Take a look at it. How much are you gonna make at your job at the YMCA?" And I was like, "This much." He says, "Well, look at this." And I was like, I want to do that. You know, like that's how much I want to make. And it's as simple as that. And so he showed me the ropes, showed me what to do. I built my little business. By the time I was like, I think 3 years in, I had already built a team, had systems in place. It was a machine at that point. Like I knew that based on the system that I had, that I was gonna get 30 leads every single month, that I was gonna close roughly around 10 to 12 deals every single month, right? And that was gonna translate to anywhere about, it was roughly about $4,000 to $5,000 per deal, right? So you can do the math, right? So from that point, we sort of broke it down to the employees and everybody got a piece, and I ended up with what I got. But it was a great business, right? And I was 20, it was in my early 20s. So you can imagine me, I was super young, but I hustled. I understood that I had to work hard, right? Nothing was gonna come easy to me. I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Like I didn't have the network that a lot of people have, so I just knew I had to hustle. My second business after that, because the market crashed and I said, I had to get out of that because I was forced out.
Yeah.
My second business was on the foreclosure side. So I started those at Gap. All the big banks were on the East Coast. All the product was on the West Coast, right? Specifically in sort of like the urban communities. And so I said, well, who's watching that stuff? Like I know real estate agents are selling it and like, people are in the process of like fixing them, but who's like overseeing and keeping that accountable for them? So I saw there was a gap there, right? So I started working with the banks, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and actually like inspecting all these assets all over South Los Angeles. And we were at one point managing about $400 million worth of assets in that area. So it's a lot of work, a lot of people. We had a lot of people in the field. And I ran that business from my house. It was super lean, all online, super easy. And then now I've got a business that I'm launching right now with the city of Montebello, which is a public-private partnership. So we're in the process of launching a retail business incubator, right? So it's like a beer garden, think of a beer garden, really small, that incubates other businesses who are just starting out. So it's giving them an opportunity to launch their food business in a really safe, local, small space. So that's the concept we're working on right now. So, anybody else have a question? Online, maybe? Anybody? Online? No?
We'll see if someone responds to come in. We did already get a kudos to you.
Cool.
The live broadcast is going well. They can hear you.
Great.
And they wanted to say thank you for so much for coming in
Absolutely.
and presenting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. Great joy. Really looking forward to seeing you guys kind of grow and flourish here. So
And
thank you.
let me come up here and maybe just do a reminder.
Yeah,
One, it was great to have you.
absolutely.
And then the hackathon.
Yeah. Yeah, so the hackathon's coming up October 22nd. It is a 30-hour event. You get to come work in a team of 5 people, coding, hardware, build something really cool in 30 hours, and on Sunday you present to judges and win prizes. Fun event.
So make sure to come out
Yeah.
and support and get involved. So thank you for everyone that showed up and that's watching online. We'll be here next week again with our guest speaker, Thomas Lawson. It's be a great time for everyone. So feel free to check out the video once it's posted, rate, comment, and let us know what you want to hear. If you have any questions for Barney Santos, send them. We'll get you in contact with him. So once again, thank you so much.
And sign up on the Startup Cal State LA, the group page on Facebook. It's Startup Cal State LA. Cool.
Thank you. Bye.